yes, once again, welcome again. My name is Oluwaseyi Adeleke, and I would love to introduce you all to the virtual community forum. This year's theme is working together for better new beginnings and a new normal in the cancer support and survivorship community. I want to thank you all for making time to be with us today. We're also going to be continuing the festivities tomorrow. And so before we go ahead and get started, we're going to give some background information about what's going to be going on today, give you all some information about how the order of events will be going, and then we're going to jump right into everything.
Thank you, Sam. Before we get started, we are going to go over just some ground rules. We wanted to remind you of some of the Zoom features. So if you take a look at the arrows, you'll see that the green arrow is pointing to the mute button, the blue arrow to the chat, the yellow to raise your hand, the red to the Q&A, and the white arrow to the interpretation. So, antes de comenzar, queríamos recordarle algunas de las funciones de Zoom. Si mira las flechas, puede ver que la flecha verde está apuntando al botón de silencio o el mute, la flecha azul al chat, la flecha amarilla donde puede alzar su mano si tiene una pregunta o un comentario, la flecha roja donde puede enviar sus preguntas, y la flecha blanca, si le gustaría escuchar este evento en español, puede seleccionar donde dice Spanish. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for that, Melissa. And so, yeah, once again, you all have been muted upon entering this event. We'll make sure that we give the opportunity for you all to unmute yourself during the Q&A. And you also can ask your questions or submit your question in the Zoom Q&A box, or just raise your hand when that time comes. So yeah, we'll let you all know when those moments are there. And then you all be able to just interact with one another and some of the guest speakers as well. And then just a notice to the attendees as well. So yeah, this event is also being recorded and photographed. So by attending, you're just acknowledging and agreeing to grant ChicagoCHEC the right to just to digitally record, film, and photograph and capture your likeness in the media, and those developed afterwards, and just to distribute, broadcast, use, or otherwise disseminate such media without further approval or payment to you. So essentially, we oftentimes like to just record these events and post them on YouTube so people can view them later on, or if you all find something really interesting, we just want to give you all the opportunity to go back to that. So yeah, once again, I'll be moderating and just kind of emceeing the event today. And so we're going to start off with the welcome remarks. Just a little bit background about myself. I'm the Research and Education Core Manager with ChicagoCHEC, and I also participated in the Fellows Program back in 2018. And I'm going to go ahead and let the people who are giving their welcome remarks introduce themselves. So we're just going to go in order of the names that are listed right here. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to Joanne Glenn to introduce themselves, and then they can continue passing the mic off to each person in the list.
Good morning. How is everyone? I'm so glad you're able to join us on this wonderful day. Welcome, working together for the better, new beginning, and new norm. We're going to talk about what norm is. So I'm Joanne. I'm a registered nurse of 48 long, wonderful years, and I have an MBA, and I've been with CHEC for 6 years. So just want to remind you, I am you, and you are me. What I do is because of you. My specialty is advocacy, addressing disparities, and having the mouth to have the big trouble going on. So today, I'll just like, as we welcome you in, like to talk about what welcomes mean. How do you welcome people into your home? Because we're virtual, we're in your home. So feel free to eat, drink, tea, water, or other. We can't smell it, so enjoy yourself. Take note, be interactive. This conference is for you. We're here for you. Nothing has changed. One of the best kept secrets about CHEC is we're still doing the work. We're still doing the work. We've been creative with some innovative things. You will hear some wonderful speakers. I'm looking at one, Miss Ross. But this is going to be a good day for all. You're going to get a lot of great information. I want to thank you for your time and welcome you into this virtual space that we're managing quite well, and pass the mic to my co-chair, a sister from another mother, Henrietta.
I just got an email. Henrietta's having some technical difficulties. Maybe we can go ahead and pass it on to Dr. Simon while I try and get her on.
Sounds good.
Please,
Oh
that's my
my
other sister
goodness.
from another
I'm
mother.
sorry. Hello,
I said,
everybody.
Great, that's my other sister from another mother.
I was just going to say the same thing. I've got a few sisters on this call right now. And I am, you know, every time we have this, every year, I have to pinch myself. I am so thankful for everyone. This truly takes a village to do the work. Like Joanne said, we are still doing the work and it is real. And we're all in this together. And I can't thank the speakers and my fellow CHEC PIs and all the leaders and everybody who contributes to this collaborative, because it certainly takes a village, and all of our relationships across the Chicagoland area with all the community organizations really trying to make life better for everyone, and specifically cancer. I just want to say one thing before I hand the mic back off, and that is to really, if there's any message that I can give today, given the last 19 really rough months we've been through with COVID, is that we have to give more love to the world. We have to give more love to ourselves, more love to each other. We certainly cannot leave ourselves behind. And when it comes to cancer screening and healthcare, as a physician, I know that many of us and many of you all, including myself, have delayed care for the last 19 months or maybe more. And I know it could be scary to get back into healthcare and to get back to a cancer screen or something, but you never know. And it's really important to do so. So if there is one message that I can send to the world today is A, I love you all. Thank you so much for being here. And B, don't forget about yourself. Don't leave yourself behind. You've got to get back into care if you haven't, and or start care if you haven't. Thank you.
I see we've got Henrietta who was able to get on. Henrietta, would you like to make a couple opening remarks?
I'd like to welcome everybody and thank everyone for joining us today. It's such an important time. I just learned news. I want to follow up on what Dr. Simon was saying, is don't delay care. I just learned that my friend in Nevada, she's been cancer-free for 13 years. And her cancer is back. And it doesn't look good, but this is a call, that I ask, community and researchers and everybody that works about, cancer health, is to continue this push to inform people, community, your families, especially those from the community today. It's my friend is optimistic, but we think about things like this. And so this is why this powers me as a co-chair for the Community Steering Committee to push so hard to try to get information and to engage residents of our communities, to access early care, to get involved in, clinical trials. It's just so important, when you have a loved one or someone, a comadre, or in your compadres and their children, right? This affects so many people. It just doesn't affect one person. So I welcome everyone for being here. I welcome and I challenge everyone, especially community, to, get that care. I know the pandemic has been really tough on all of us, even psychologically. It has been such a weight on our hearts and our minds and our shoulders and our families and our children. But we cannot, put these kinds of things, to the side. We have to take action, and we can't just put it off to tomorrow. So welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Henrietta. Dr. Fitzgibbon or Dr. Velas, whoever wants to go first. I see you've got it down, Marion, go ahead.
I'll just go very briefly. Thank you so much, Henrietta, Melissa, and Joanne. I want to echo your sentiments. We welcome you to our community forum. It's a highlight of our year to work with our community steering committee, our wonderful, wonderful community steering co-chairs, our faculty, staff, and the wonderful speakers that we're going to hear from today. So thank you and welcome.
Go ahead, Dr. Velas.
Good morning, everybody. I wanted to greet all participants of this forum because without you, we would not organize that. You are the most important people, our participants, our faithful attendees, some from the beginning. And I wanted to thank Joanne and also Henrietta. We couldn't have a warmer and better welcome like Joanne invited us to her home. That couldn't be a warmer and better invitation. And they are not only warmly inviting, but they are hard workers. They organize that. Without them, this event that is already organized for the 6th time and is growing and become better, we wouldn't have that. And also our staff who organize that and help to support, especially the staff that supports the outreach corps, did enormous work with that. So feel like at home. And I also want to send greetings from my co-partners, Christina Chicierski, another PI from Northeastern, who couldn't be just at this moment because she's in class and has to take care of our wonderful students who often really experience the type of disadvantage that many of the communities that you represent do. So welcome and have a great time with all of us. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for that. We're just going to roll into the next session, which is actually the opening session, which is community experiences and real talk. So yeah, I want to invite the facilitator, Yolanda, who's an actress, writer, and director, along with the community panelists, Elizabeth Rivera, Tasha Joyner, Linda Cassidy, and Arthur Ray. So yeah, we are super excited. This session is going to be happening right now. So I'm going to invite those folks on up.
Ms. Ross, you're all good to go ahead.
Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. I'm very glad to be here with you all. I just want to say I was brought into this group of women, of survivors, of people that help people through the journey, from Melissa Simon. She's like a wizard. She knows everybody. She can make everything happen. And she's amazing, and all these women are amazing. I got to know everyone here through my work on The Chi. Let me just back up a little bit. So I'm Yolanda Ross. I'm an actress, and I'm on the show The Chi, the Showtime series The Chi. And my character, Jada Washington, this season went through cancer. So I decided to, find out as much as I could that I didn't know already, from people who help others go through this journey. And Melissa introduced me to the people that, I'm going to introduce you to in a little bit. It's like, I feel like we've all been touched by cancer in some way or another. If it wasn't us, a family member, friends. I've lost friends and family to cancer, and doing as much as I could with my medium to showcase us Black women going through it, because I feel like one thing I don't ever see is a Black person going through cancer on television or film, so that you see the different steps and stages that there are. And they really helped me through it, through the hair loss, knowing that the skin turns colors, that you get burned from chemo, that the nails change colors, how you feel, how it affects families, all of it. So I'm here to, introduce you to them, because they teach and help you get through it. One thing I'll just say is early detection, key. There's, if you may feel scared, because I've had friends say to me, I think there's something there, but I don't, you don't what? It's your body. And if your body is attacking you, you have to fight it. You have to fight it. And the best way to fight is when you're strong and before it gets any worse, before the stages get further. And it may be too late, or you may be too far gone and have to deal with a lot of things that maybe you don't want to deal with, might not be able to financially deal with, but hitting it on the head early and attacking it early is key. So, the detections, getting your breast exams, self-exams, all of it important for us. And not to preach, but yes, to preach, watch what you eat, meal preps, prepping your food. And I know a lot of times it comes down to, we're busy, where we've got families, we've got things to do. Processed foods are a part of our diet. I'm guilty of it, but at the same time, take the time to prep your food, try and eat as good as you can. Greens, vegetables, meats that aren't packaged, prepackaged. So, taking care of the body and the mind, because the mind is equally important, because stress can make everything worse. So, it's taking care of your body, taking care of your mind. And these women that I'm getting, women and men that I'm getting ready to introduce are facilitators in helping you get through it. Okay, let me just introduce everybody. We're going to be speaking to Elizabeth Rivera, Tasha Joyner, Arthur Ray, and Linda Cassidy. I guess I'll just open the floor. The person I see first is Elizabeth.
Hi, everyone. I am a cancer survivor. I'm also an author, which helped me get through my journey. So when you mention that food is very important, which is so true, we can't skip over exercise, and the most important is attitude. When I found out I had cancer, I was overwhelmed. I had no clue. I had no information. And so I was blessed with women that I was surrounded that helped me through it. And that inspired me to do the same thing. So that's why it's so important for me to help others. And I wouldn't say adjusting, but helping them with their attitude. Once you help with the attitude, everything else comes into place. So that's my little 2 cents right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Tasha Joyner.
Tasha, I think you're muted. Oh no.
Unmute. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tasha Joyner, and I'm an 18-year breast cancer survivor. And my message to everyone, just like Yolanda said, know your body. I mean, if you feel something is not right, if you have an inkling of a thought that I need to go get this checked out, what are you waiting for? It's easier said than done because we have fear. We are afraid of what can happen, what has happened to some of our family members or friends, and we don't want it to happen to us. Our mind is like a sponge. I mean, we will absorb everything, and primarily anxiety and stress. Those are the key factors to not being able to heal properly and heal in a timely manner. So I don't want to preach, as Yolanda, I'm going to piggyback off of some of her strong words. We're not here to preach to you. We're here to let you know that you can get through this with early detection. You can get through this by having a support group. You can get through this by having a positive attitude and eating right. So being 18 years into this thing called life, I am making a promise to myself and to every woman and man that I meet that I'm going to help you get through this. It is a journey, but you can get through this journey. You can get on the other side of thinking that this is a death sentence, because it is not. And unfortunately, sometimes it does come back. That's when we have to be a little more vigilant and have that support, that you need. People of color, sometimes we're afraid to talk about it. We have to get past that hurdle. We have to get past the burden of thinking, what will they think about me if I tell them I have breast cancer? Get past that. So I am just here to say, we're going to celebrate life, and we're going to celebrate it hard. We're going to celebrate it big. We're going to celebrate it abundantly, because this is not a death sentence. And I'm going to end with that.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, one other thing I want to say about that, and with everything Tasha was saying, is knowing your family history. Because if your family, you know, is a family that does have the cancer gene, that is something to look at and to bring up to your doctors as well. So when they ask you those questions, family history of, you know, cancer and all that, you know, make sure you know, or ask your family, you know, if it's, you know, if you don't have siblings or a parent or whatever that's gone through it, but say it's aunts, you know, or that kind of thing. But, you know, knowing your family history helps as well. Thank you, Tasha. Arthur Ray.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, no, first, very happy to be here. Excited about it. I'm born and raised south side of Chicago. I'm currently, this just past July marked 15 years remission for me from bone cancer. So when you talk about family history, bone cancer isn't hereditary. So that was something that was very new to me. I'm 32 years old now. I was diagnosed with cancer when I was 17. So caught me at a very trying time in my life. Yeah, I was an athlete, football player from the south side of Chicago. And so, of course, you know, getting cancer at that age, it crushed me mentally, psychologically. And it just took me to a space that was very dark, you know, and I always knew that if I was blessed in the Lord and with the great doctors that I had at UIC and Rush University for my surgeries, that once I got back on my feet, that I would do things like this. This is very special to me. Currently, I'm a football coach at University of Arkansas, and we got a big game this week. But this, I couldn't pass it up. You know, just being able to have a chance to get in front of people and be able to do what I dreamed of doing when I sat in that room on chemo. Just basically my biggest thing that I wanted to focus on from my standpoint, my journey was very long. I was on crutches for 2 years. Like I said, I was an athlete. I signed a scholarship to play at Michigan State University, and was totally started chemotherapy a week after I signed that scholarship. So, you know, as far as my career and all of that, that was on hold. And a couple doctors had said that I might have to get my leg removed. That was my first time hearing about that. And of course, I'm 17, I'm healthy, I'm young, vibrant, jumping around, hopping, skipping, you know what I'm saying? I'm just enjoying life. But just after that, started chemotherapy immediately, about 4 years of rehab and 16 surgeries later from 2007 to 2009. Doctor cleared me to walked for a year in 2010. And 2011, I actually stepped back on the football field. Make a long story short, after everything, 4 years rehab, 2 years of crutches, a lot of pain, a lot of mental turmoil, anxiety, depression, along with trying to become an adult. Because at 18 years old, we all thought we were adults. Just going through that, it allowed me to see the power of the mind and the power of the mentality that you have to have. If you ever diagnosed, or if you're a caretaker for those who diagnosed, the mind controls a lot, in terms of your focus. I always tried to see myself accomplishing more and getting higher. And by the blessings of the Lord, I was able to do that. After all of that, I graduated from college. I finished school and I signed with the Miami Dolphins. I'm an ex-NFL player as well. I got a scar on my leg that people look at me like I'm crazy, but I wear it proudly. And that's the scar of my battle, my journey. Just that I share with so many people. And me going through it so young, I felt like I didn't have anybody to reach out to, especially that was like me. So me being able to join here and speak with you guys today, it's a blessing. Again, I thank you. But again, the one thing I want to focus on is the mind and the mindset. The mindset you got to have. You got to attack. The quote that I live by, that I talk to my players about all the time, is attacking adversity with intensity. When life gets hard, you got to get harder. You got to get tougher. I had a lot of down days, man. I had a lot of days where, like a lot of us, you just don't know. You're uncertain of the future to come. But I was looking forward to a future, and I thank God I'm sitting here able to speak with you guys today.
Awesome.
Wow, thank you so much. It was so great to hear your story. Linda Cassidy.
Hey everybody. I had breast cancer. I got surprised by it on a routine mammogram. I didn't have no idea. And it was a late birthday present. I had just turned 46. And to speak to the family end of it all, I was a little bit of a unique situation in that I'm adopted. And I know my birth parents, but I didn't have any idea of family history or anything like that, because it's it just turned out that I got it. And in order to get to check for the gene, I was just past, since I had just turned 46, I had just gone over the young diagnosis. So luckily some clever letter writing with the fine folks at Northwestern got Medicare to cover the test, and I don't have the gene, so that was good. Luckily it was stage 1, and I just managed to have a lumpectomy and radiation, and just wrapped up the medicine part of the chemo right before COVID. So that has been an adventure. And 14 years prior to getting the cancer diagnosis, I had been in a car accident, and so I'm in a wheelchair. So when I found out that I had the cancer, I was like, oh, of course I have cancer. It was just like another thing. But I have kind of a dark sense of humor, so that helped me. Might not have helped others when I was talking about it quite as much. They might have found it a little unsettling, but it definitely helped me get through. And I just kind of looked at it through the lens of, now what? Because I was thinking to myself, the kind of chuckle that I had is that I was like, oh great, now they're coming for the last the last two things I have going for me, which was my chest and my hair. I'm like, now how am I going to distract people from the wheelchair? But luckily I did not lose hair or any boobs. So so I still have that. And, so my distraction game is still strong, I think, from the wheelchair. But no, I kid. But so yeah, I struggled a bit with side effects. So and just the way, and I still struggle. I'm the lucky person that if there was a side effect to be had to procedures or medicine, I got it. So that's been my primary journey. The surgery was luckily unremarkable, and it didn't I was worried I was going to have to go into like a nursing home to recover, because there's a remarkable to me lack of folks that I could talk to about how do paraplegics recover from getting a lumpectomy or a mastectomy, if I would have had to have that. Because when you're discharged from your outpatient surgery, they tell you don't lift anything over 10 pounds for the first, I don't remember the timeline, but part of me was like, do you not understand how you move as a paralyzed person? We lift ourselves places and things. So that was a remarkable, and that's kind of been a remarkable challenge for me throughout the medical stuff, is that there seems to be so little experience dealing with people that are, in my case, paraplegic or disabled with limited movement, that there seems to not be any kind of information available on how we recover from things. So hopefully I can shed some insight or be useful in that way, because it's always remarkable to me that I thought, oh, well, I live in a major city. I live in Chicago, major medical area. Certainly they'll be able to connect me with another person that's had spinal cord injury that's also had breast cancer, but apparently we're unicorns. They finally connected me with somebody in Texas that wasn't paralyzed at all. And so, I mean, it's a lovely lady, and I appreciated her insight, but it wasn't really applicable. And I just find that when I have gone on various speaking things regarding cancer or just dealing with paralysis, I'm single, I live alone. Well, my dog, you've seen him maybe wandering about, but so little is often expected, and then so few accommodations are made for folks that are like me. I refuse to believe I'm the only person like me. I just think we don't get a lot of exposure, and perhaps that's also true because I live in the Midwest and it's not exactly the friendliest place to roll around when it's winter. So maybe there's just not population density, but I'm hopeful that by exposing myself to others and being whatever limited resource I can be, just to show people that things still go on, and a variety of people get affected by medical things. Even though it looks like your plate's already full of medical things, there's always room, as my grandma used to say, there's always room for Jello or whatever. Like, there's always room for one more thing that you can be toting around with you. So I like to be a resource as much as I can be to folks, just to show them that, like you're saying, it's not a death sentence, but understand that it might have different inconveniences for the various people that encounter the problem. It's not limited to community X or Y. So hopefully I can be of some use with sharing my experience.
Linda, that was huge. I mean, that was,
thanks.
That really does bring me into like the next portion of this, where, asking you guys, what challenges have you had to, overcome, or loved ones that, you know, around you have had to overcome. And you just named a bunch of them, you know, being a paraplegic, and just the simple fact of you're using your arms to move. And, you know, and yeah, you're not supposed to over 5 or 10 pounds be, you know, I think you're more than 5 or 10 pounds. I'll just say that. So yeah, you know, so you had to talk to someone in Texas?
Yeah, there was no local, I didn't think it was a big deal because in terms of finding somebody, when I mentioned like, hey, is there any, because I was trying to strategize dog care. I mean, I'm kind of a single parent in that, you know, it's outpatient, but that's a long time and you never know if they're going to let you go home, you know, like, so I was like, well, I've got a dog that somebody needs to handle. So I just had to figure that out. And I didn't want to go to a nursing home if that was going to be. So I reached out. I'm an alumni of the Rehab Institute of Chicago, now Shirley Ryan. So I reached out to my spinal cord doctor and we did something. I went there for prehab to kind of strengthen myself prior to the surgery as much as I could. And then we kind of had a little, not a deal, but sort of, he's like, keep me posted on how things go, because versus going to a nursing home, I could perhaps come and be on the spinal cord injury floor if I needed some time in the hospital. Like if I truly couldn't get from bed to, you know, use the washroom and then there were various things because home health will only come twice a week.
Yeah.
And I ran into problems with that when I was recovering during my radiation, because I had a pretty aggressive skin reaction to my radiation that I've heard of no one else having when I've asked. Like all my skin fell off. And so I couldn't transfer to bed because you're doing this and you're coming out of your ACE wrap tube top, you know, like that you can't rewrap an ACE wrap around your body when you're by yourself. So like I had to sleep in my living room chair, sitting up sort of, in order to keep the dressing on. So it's just stuff like that. Like luckily, like I'd been paralyzed 14 years prior because I'm like the queen of how can I figure this out?
You're used to like taking care of yourself alone.
And figuring out like little things, like all my doors have strings on them because you can't close a door behind yourself, like dumb stuff like that. So like I'm good at being MacGyver, not to date myself. Let
me ask you something. Are you now, do you do any virtual talks or anything like that to, you know, to be?
No, I'm not, like, I don't know how to help out. Cause like I said, I worked for myself. I was self-employed when I got in my car accident.
Well, this right here is helpful. This
right. So like whatever, I'm always open to doing whatever's useful. But when you're by yourself in your basement, like you don't know how you can be a resource.
No, so, I get that. You know what?
So spread the word, everybody. I'm happy to be,
you know,
useful.
Instagram, Facebook, all those different formats. Tasha, how about you? Because Tasha is somebody you should know. It's, you know, in Chicago as well. What challenges did you have, loved ones or yourself? And also talk about your organization, because the Butterflies, you know, Linda, I don't know if you can, you know, go there or not, but I know that they do virtual things as well. But, you know, having, like you said, resources is what it's all about.
Yeah. And just to let people know too, that some of the things that you might feel, shame's a strong word, so I don't necessarily know if it's an accurate one, but like a lot of my problems that I've had, that the side effects have been a lot of vanity stuff. And in terms of, and I feel like people act like that's too shallow of a problem. But I had the same kind of things that I overcame with the spinal cord injury too. I was like, I looked at it as an opportunity to wear high heels every day. So I got to be known as the lady with the shoes, like when I go speak at various spinal cord injury things. And I was like, why not? We don't walk anymore. Like we didn't go, like find the joy in whatever thing.
Yeah, it's about the mental.
Like there's things you can hang your hat on that's like, yeah, I sit down all the time, but look at my fierce 6-inch, 5-inch, whatever inch shoe.
Right.
And sadly, I was saying that I was worried about like, oh, there go my boobs and my hair. That the one of the side effects, man, they don't stop when the medicine stops. So like when you get arthritis as a side effect, that doesn't magically go away when you're off your aromatase inhibitors. Swelling, which when your legs are dependent, you have issues with swelling, which if you're a lady, sometimes makes the shoes hard to get on. And now, like Poshmark is going to get a bounty of a lot of high heel boots because thanks to the cancer meds, I've now got such swelling. It comes and goes, but the swelling is such, the edema makes me not able to wear any of my old shoes. And that makes me sad. Things like that we're not always mourning the loss of things that people deem suitable to mourn, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that when you speak to fellow, cancer survivors and even family members to get an idea of like that you're sensitive about how you look, or people that struggle with like lymphedema and can have swelling. Luckily, my lymphedema wasn't a deforming thing. It was more of a hassle. And that like,
yeah, I have a friend that's going through that as well.
I never thought I would miss underwire bras, but here we are. Yeah. Like stuff like that. Like, so it's things that kind of, the word that I came up with for myself was it's eroding. And
yeah.
it's slow. It's slow like that until then you finally go like, wow, I haven't worn a cute shoe. I mean, no offense, Converse, you're cute, but you're not 4 inches high or whatever, like things that you didn't realize made you feel better to look down and see, or a cute top or whatever. So you just got to kind of rechannel what gives you joy.
Exactly.
And that's still my struggle, which, I may not be Sisyphus, but it's still my boulder. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. I think we all get that.
Let me
Tasha real quick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Tasha. It's okay.
No, Linda, I am in awe of your spirit right now. I'm in awe of it. And I want you to keep doing what you do. You laugh through the pain, you smile through the pain, because that's what's going to draw people in. And that's how you're going to help someone.
Oh, good.
So keep doing what you do. Keep celebrating your life. Wear those high heel shoes. I agree with you about the underwire bras. We don't need them anyway. But I digress. I want to answer Yolanda's question. I was 36 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had just had my only child. He was 8 months old. So what got me through was the fact that it was no longer about me. Being diagnosed with breast cancer and surviving breast cancer, I had to remove myself from the equation, because now I have a little person to take care of, and I need to be here for this person that I was blessed with. And so the challenges that I had was the mental, the mind, terrible thing to waste. The mind can play tricks on you. The mind can say, okay, you've got this baby, you've got a family, they'll take care of this baby if you're gone. If I allowed the psyche to take over, I would have not fought as hard. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You fight for what you want. You stand up for what you believe in. And I didn't care if the doctor said, cut all 5 of your fingers off and drink your blood. Guess what I was going to do? I was going to do it because I wanted to live. You fight through what you want. And Linda, you are inspiring me so much because I want to bring you into the fold. My organization is not just about breast cancer. Cancer is cancer. Yeah. One does not have more validity over the other. And so you are a butterfly. You went into that cocoon. You went in and you had a car accident, you're paraplegic, you had breast cancer, you're dealing with bandages, you're dealing with trying to lift yourself. That cocoon is where all of that transpired. Now you broke out of that cocoon. You forced yourself out of that cocoon so that you can soar and be beautiful and be comical and wear your heels and just, you know, there are other people out here like you. And this is the forum that we can reach and teach. So someone within these 93 people who are on this phone call, someone knows someone who knows someone who's just like you. So you are not alone. I want you to know that. I want you to stand in that. You are not alone. You're going to continue to fight through this. And I'm just, you know, I get emotional. I get passionate because we are such a powerful society if we allow ourselves to understand what someone else is going through.
Yep.
When someone is looking at you, they shouldn't look away. They should look at you and say, wow, that could be me. How can I help? So I apologize for being passionate because this is my life. This is my world. I got diagnosed with breast cancer when my son was 8 months old. He's now 19. And whatever I can do to help someone else, that's what I'm here to do. There's a reason why I got diagnosed. There's a reason why I got reconstructed. There's a reason why they didn't get all the cancer the first time I got reconstructed. Now I don't have a left breast. So I'm fine with it because my breast did what it needed to do. It fed my baby. And I'm here to celebrate life through it all. So there you have it.
Communication, y'all, communication. Well, I see a new butterfly.
I'm excited to know you.
I'm excited to welcome you into my sisterhood, my sister.
Hey.
Excellent. Arthur, how about you? What challenges? Well, we heard some of your challenges, but that's a lot being young, being diagnosed, being a sports person, and then having to come back through all of that. From what I heard earlier, it sounds like you did just what Tasha did as far as the mental. Like we got work to do.
Yeah, you know, it's I just read a book, Your Mind is Not Your Ally. You know, you have to turn it into that. You know, naturally, it's not that. You know, you go through those days of self-doubt. You go through them days where, you know, you don't even the things that you want to happen, it's not showing itself right now. So you got to convince yourself to believe in the unseen. You know, I went through a lot of days of that. I think the difficult thing for me being so young was my anger. You know, I tell anybody I was angry. It was no one's fault, so it was everybody's fault. You know, and you gotta understand, I'm right. I had the whole world ahead of me in my mind. You know, I had did everything I was supposed to do, got good grades, all of that stuff, and this was coming out of nowhere. I thought this was a death sentence from the Lord for me. You know, it's because that young, I took it the wrong way. So you know,
can I ask you one thing?
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you said that about how it was coming out of you, how was your family taking and dealing with
exactly? That's what my mother was there with me every step of the way. Love her to death. She just visited me down here. Yeah, she took a vacation, but she helped me so much, and I was so young, and it just crushed me emotionally. I didn't know how to handle it. You know, I didn't know how to handle. I had experienced success. And when you experience success, you expect success. You expect things to go. You work hard and things to just go how you think they're going to go. And then getting hit with that. And then it taught me a very valuable lesson at a young age, which I'm grateful for now. Because now as a man, when things happen, I laugh at them. Everything's minuscule now because I know where I've been and what I've overcame. But it's just my family, I think they had to have a lot of patience. Like, you know, I think about, I put myself in the shoes if I was my caregiver. I would have got yelled at a lot, cussed out a lot, probably for no reason. And it's not intentionally directed at them. I was just so angry because I had my whole life ahead of me and I felt like everything was going to be changed, which it was, but it was changed for the better. You know, now that I'm living it, and like Tasha had said earlier, you know, we do this, the things we do and the testimonies we're able to give and inspire other people now, that's what it's about. It's for everybody else. It's not for us. You know, I was very selfish then. You know, I'm thinking me. You know, I grew up on Roseland in the Hunnits, south side of Chicago. I'm in the city. You know, I was the first person in my family to graduate college. Things like that don't happen from where we grew up, where we around. So, you know, being able to have an opportunity to change things for myself and change just the landscape and accomplish things that I wanted to, having that taken away, I was shook. You know, I think that that was probably the biggest thing with me, managing my temperament. You know, once I got to college and I got on my own and I was able to sort of, you don't realize and you don't make your biggest breakthrough with everything until you're alone. And people don't talk about that. Because that's when it's quiet. When it's quiet is when that's the most pain. That's the most inner turmoil, especially for me. You know, you find yourself, especially now in the world, we so connected with people through phones and just different things like that. But once you're alone, the reality sits in. That's when your mind gets to talking the loudest. And now you're just sitting there and it's you versus you. And it's, you know, I think back to those days now and look at where I am. And it was that was the most difficult piece for me to overcome, because all of that, you know, it's just a trickle down effect. Once that started, then the anxiety came, then depression came, then, you know, now self-doubt, then you begin to question everything. Like, and then the biggest thing that I know a lot of survivors deal with now is, you know, when good things start to happen, after you get healthy, you always like holding your breath. You're like, wait, what's around that corner? Like, I don't know if it's safe around that corner. You know, it's like, I feel good now, but I don't know what's coming, because I got caught off guard totally. I was celebrating my life a week before, and I'm at the 6th floor on the pediatric floor of UIC hospital taking chemotherapy a week after. So it just happened fast for me, and it just taught me how to embrace change and how to sort of grow and go with life now.
Thank you. Wow. That was great to hear, you know, all the parts of it. Because as we can see, as we are hearing, you know, we have the physical challenges, but the mind, it trumps all of them. Because if you don't have the mindset, the fight, if you let that doubt and everything else that the mind can put in you, creep in, our body responds to it. So thank you, Arthur. Elizabeth, how about you? What challenges?
Wow.
I
had many challenges. First of all, I didn't give you my whole story, where when I was diagnosed, I had been married 10 years. And when I told my husband that I had a lump, they had found a lump, I was served with papers the next month, divorce papers. And so it just hit me like a storm. And so not only was I dealing with now this whole thing called cancer, I'm dealing with a husband that I had been with for 10 years to tell me that he's no longer going to be part of my life. And so I have twin boys, and they were 16, and they became my caregivers. As far as my family, I just want to say that for me, being a Latina, my family is very secretive. And so having any type of disease or issues was always kept to themselves. So I never knew that anyone in my family had cancer. So when I had it, I didn't call a family member. I called a close girlfriend because I didn't know where to, go for any advice. And she was the one that navigated me to find the right people. Then eventually, my sisters found out, and then my mom and so forth, and come to find out that in my dad's family, they're cancer survivors, which I didn't know. I just thought my aunt had cute haircut and she decided, to be fashionable. She had been a 16-year cancer survivor. And so then she gave me, the help that I needed, the support, the mental support as a survivor. But communication is very key. So my sister decided to, I apologize, I have a daycare and my children are not behaving right now. It's, the normal thing when you're on the phone. But so she did a journal for me. And so she made copies of all of my medical history, my past and current. And so she binded it and gave it to all of my other sisters, because they have daughters and, children and stuff. And I gave them to my children. So it was a lot of challenges. Again, side effects. I had lots of challenges because your provider doesn't always tell you what to expect, and everybody's different. I didn't have the soreness in the mouth like they said you would get. I had something else. I had weakness in my bones, so I fractured my both feet. I was a flight attendant at the time, and so I had to have surgery on both feet. So Linda, for you, just wear those heels. I still can't wear heels all the time. I'll try them on, but my feet will swell up. And but put them on and look cute. Just put them on. I'm also a butterfly, so I'm part of that foundation, and that's helped me through a lot of stuff, just meeting other people and helping them, even navigating through their providers. For instance, I had a sister a butterfly sister that had the same doctor that I had, but she was getting different treatment, even though our diagnosis and treatments were similar, but she was skipped over some of the treatment that I had gotten because of insurance. So there are a lot of things that through communication you can get through and kind of learn that people are being treated differently. When I was diagnosed, I was celebrating my 10th year anniversary prior to being diagnosed. Then I was going to be 50. So for my birthday, I was, having surgery. I had a mastectomy. So who wants that, And then you have to, I was mourning because part of my body was gone now, all of a sudden. Then, like Arthur said, you think that you don't know what's going to happen. You're always fearful. Every October, I have anxiety. Literally, Joanne can tell you. I took her to a doctor's visit with me because I thought it was back, and she held my hand and she talked to the doctor, and I just, and it had been years, and I was like, there's something wrong with me. But it was October. My appointment was on October, and that's when I was diagnosed as well. And then you have, we celebrate breast cancer, survivors in October. So it's just a lot for us. So, yeah.
Thank you. And what you said about communication, and the thing about the doctors, that was something that I thought about earlier that I forgot to mention. Talking to other people, their organizations are out there. I mean, CHEC is out there. Tasha C. Joyner Foundation is out there. There are people that you can talk to. I mean, people can be scared or feel, like they don't want to share their stories. They don't want to have attention drawn to them. But the people in these organizations are people just like you are, and they've gone through it. And any kind of networking you can do to find out which doctors are helping and which ones are not listening. How, just like you said, Elizabeth, about you had certain side effects or you had certain things that you went through that say somebody else didn't go through. It's like talking about these things so that it takes away some of the nerves, some of the questions, some of the fear. So, I mean, and the organizations are out there, and literally they are just other human beings that have gone through it as well. But it's getting the information, it's sharing information, it's helping each other out, because just like you said, you went, Elizabeth, you went with Joan, to the doctor, having somebody go with you, having an ally in that room, it just takes away some of the fear, some of the anxiety. So, thank you all, for sharing your stories, sharing your information for everybody. I'm not sure what the next step is, but I'll give it back to, I'm not sure. Joan?
No worries. Hi, Yolanda. This is Elisa on the team. I didn't know if anyone else, I know we've got about what is that? Not 10 minutes, one less than that, 9. Math is hard. It's a day like that. But I just, while we're wrapping up, if anybody on the panel had any remarks they'd like to share, any experiences, we still got a couple minutes left in the session.
One thing that I wanted to add that was real positive for me, and it kind of throughout all my medical adventures, it was kind of a running joke when I had my spinal cord injury that there was always at least one totally fine doctor on my staff. So, and the builders were at my house. People were like, wow, did you pre-screen? I was like, it looks like I did, right? But I found great community in the caregivers at the hospital. And it was because of I was kind of a weird case, because I know often when you get your first run with breast cancer, that generally when you're younger, you take the tamoxifen as the medical chemo part of it. The 5-year, I think they upped that to 10 years now for tamoxifen. I was ineligible for tamoxifen because I have a clot history. So I had to do the aromatase inhibitors, which are, you need to be menopausal. So I had to get chemically put into menopause in order to take the aromatase inhibitors. So that one of the things that does that is you get a shot every month. And so that was my community. And then when I took myself to radiation and, every day for the 6 weeks or whatever that is. And so those ladies were my community. And there's a few guys there, but generally most of the staff at Northwestern just seemed to be a really awesome set of ladies. And so I won't lie, I miss my every 28 dose of all the nice ladies over at all the schedulers and stuff like that at Northwestern. So I pop in when I'm in the building now. Well, COVID kind of messed things up because nobody was doing anything in person. But they kind of all became my friends. I'm kind of like Norm at Cheers on the Northwestern Medical Campus, because I don't know if the wheelchair tends to bring with it some assumptions when you're viewed by the world. So I forget that I'm in it. And so sometimes I feel extra special if I'm recognized, and I'm like, God, that's so flattering. And then I'm like, no, it's the wheelchair dummy. But I also think that they're so not used to someone being outgoing in a chair. So, and I hate to give this particular politician credit, because I'm sure his speechwriter did it, but I shudder that I think it was George Bush in a speech, and I feel dirty even saying that was the soft bigotry of low expectations. Every day when you're in a wheelchair, you kind of deal with that, because people will say things like, look how nice you look on days that you don't look nice. Like, don't insult me. And I think people are like that when people are recovering from various medical things. They just get so awkward and they don't know what to say. But I always found great comfort and stuff just going in and seeing all the people. And then there's other people that you sometimes always see in the waiting room because Tuesday's their day. So you kind of get like a weird ad hoc community, even if you're somebody like me that is alone most of the time in their life. So it's like, I would just encourage people or just remind people that the schedulers are people too. You know, like they can be a great source of community that lives at the, you know, socially at where you're getting medical help. Like, I guess I look at everything as an opportunity to talk to people. And maybe that's because I live by myself and I don't really see people that much. Ask my UPS guy. He's probably like, lady, I'm just trying to drop off a package. I'm on a schedule. But I used to love seeing everybody there. So that was just another way that I kind of formed a little community for myself. Just because I got to go there and see them every month. It doesn't need to be a negative, I guess, the doctor's office, in my experience, because I think everybody, if you greet them with a smile, if it's possible, I'm not saying be false or don't feel whatever pain you're going to feel, because I'm sure they're used to encountering that too. But that was a big upside for me of the treatment, is that like, I think I saw more people when I was getting cancer treatment than I would ordinarily see. So that's just something that I thought of when you're talking about. You can find community in the strangest places, is what I'm saying. So
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
I was gonna quickly add, we actually do have something in the Q&A, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read that. So it says, thank you for putting on this inspiring session full of positive energy. Does your community offer online training or resources for people who would like to build local cancer survivor communities and do advocacy and volunteer work to empower women in developing countries? So I don't know if anyone wants to go ahead and answer that. Maybe that's a question.
Tasha?
I would like to defer to Joanne Glenn on that question. She and I are partners in the Butterfly Group, and we've been trying to do a lot of different collaborations, especially with the hearing impaired community as well. So Joanne, do you have any input about a broad outreach?
So we do have training. So we do have development things that we can do. And now with the internet, we can surely reach and wire. So please put your information in the chat and Tasha and I will follow up. The answer is yes, we can help.
Yeah. The only, my closing remark, I apologize, Yolanda, were you going to say something? I'm sorry. So my closing remark is, you know, the Joyner Foundation, the Tasha C. Joyner Foundation is all about empowering, inspiring, and encouraging you to celebrate life after cancer, because there is life after cancer. There is life after cancer. You have to really put that in your mind, make that a mantra. Life after cancer. I am going to live through this, and I'm going to live abundantly and prosperously, if that is a word, but I'm just going to live, and I'm going to push through the pain, and I'm going to smile. And your smile can help someone else, whether you're feeling bad or not. It takes nothing to smile, but just turn your outer corners up, and you don't know who you can help just by a smile.
Thank you so much. And then also, I'm sorry, I just want to also read something else. I think also continues the conversation. So we had someone put in the chat as well that Immerman Angels is international, that provide one-on-one support for cancer patients, survivors, and caregivers. And then I also have one more question. I want to thank you all again so much for your time today. If anyone wants to answer a question, I was wondering, what are some tips and other resources for connecting with local survivorship communities, actually?
There are several breast cancer organization groups here in Chicago. Google is a wonderful platform. We collaborate. Each organization has their own mission. Some is all about doing mammograms, free mammograms. Some is advocacy. It just depends on what you're looking for. And we, the Tasha Joyner Foundation and the Watt Foundation, we can pretty much put you in touch with whatever you're looking for, whether it's medication assistance, whether it's transportation assistance, whether you need prosthetics, whatever it is. We have our outreach because we have a huge network of people who know us. And if we can't get it to you directly, we will find someone who can.
Thank you so much, everybody. I know that we've hit time. Thank you to all of our wonderful panelists here today. Yolanda, thank you so much for facilitating and joining us. Right now, we do have a 10-minute break. So if anyone needed to go grab some coffee or tea or whatever would work good for you, go ahead. We'll come back around 12:25 for our next session that will be on grief, loss, and healing. So go ahead and take some time to yourself and come back on for our next session in a little bit. Thank you so much, everybody.
All right, it's about 12:27, so we're going to give it a couple more minutes just to make sure that everyone can kind of trickle back, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Just a friendly reminder that the 2022 ChicagoCHEC Fellows Cohort journey and the program is about to start accepting applications again starting November 2021. So essentially, this is a great opportunity for any students that you might know that either attend any of the city colleges, UIC, Northwestern, or Northeastern University, to have a paid summer experience to kind of expose them to careers in health and cancer research. Like I said, I'm a former participant, and that's my journey back into ChicagoCHEC. So it's a great opportunity that we've been doing for the last 6 years, and we're looking forward to continuing kind of adding more students to our cohort. And so the time now, it is 12:28. So I want to go ahead and get us started just to make sure that we don't run out of time for our next speaker and events that we have. So we're going to move on to our next session. So the second session is grief, loss, and healing. And so for this one, we will have Rhonda, who is a spiritual and shaman healer and spiritual mentor as well. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic off to Rhonda, and I'll allow you to introduce yourself and also introduce the second session. So thank you so much.
Hi, thank you so much, Sam. I'm so sorry, everybody. We're just having a little bit of a technical difficulties. So let's just give us like maybe 5 more minutes, then we'll get started in the session. I do apologize. Hi, Rhonda. Are you able to hear me on your end? I don't know if the audio switched over for you.
Hello there.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay, I don't know how to get the video on here, so I guess we're just going to be listening here.
That's totally
unless-
fine.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm sorry about the technical difficulty. I am not super good at all this stuff. Anyway, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is for you. My name is Rhonda Day Coy. I have been invited here to inspire you just a little bit in maybe some challenging times. And I'm gonna really let you know that I'm gonna give you some ideas, and I'm supporting you in this journey that we all are on some level. And so I'm gonna really speak to probably some things that some of you hadn't even thought of in your life. And I'm going to start with just a small moment of prayer, because this is my way, and I'm going to show you that you can find your own way, but this is my way. So I'm including all of you, no matter what your belief is around anything, in this opening prayer for the work that I'm going to offer you today. So if you just want to take a breath for a moment and center yourself. And I'm going to ask Father, Mother, God, and the name that has 10,000 names, or Spirit, or Jesus, or Mary, or whomever, to be present with us during this time that we're discussing difficult things and difficult challenges for grief and loss. I ask that the surrounding healing cover all of these persons who are here today, to be covered in a blanket of comfort. And I also ask for everyone to just be in some kind of peace as much as possible at this time. And I thank you for this time to be able to help someone else in their process. So thank you. And we say Miigwech, we say Aho, and we say Amen. Thank you. So today, I really want to talk about a couple of things, and I'm going to start with a couple of stories. And boy, we all have some stories around grief and loss. I can tell you that. I certainly have a few. So just in the recent past, this is what has happened for me. And I'm letting you know that I'm not anybody special. I am just a very average person. And I call myself a practicing Christian Native American Buddhist, which is a big handful and a big mouthful, but it comes from the teachers that I've had in my life. And I truly follow all of these paths in my life. And they all have the same premises, really, as Christianity. And there's many more other ideas out there, but those are mine. And so in my process of grieving and loss, the most recent was my son and his wife had a loss of two twins at almost 6 months. And our family really had to deal with that loss, and it's been pivotal to our family and very, very painful. And then probably 8 years ago, my sister was diagnosed with endometrial cancer, and she went from living to death in 17 days. No time to prepare, no time to really say goodbye. She was suffering greatly. And so my journey of healing around grief and loss started there and continued. My grandfather, who raised me, had lung cancer. So again, I have been touched by critical illness, and he's passed now, and I had to deal with that. And then currently, my husband of almost 40 years is dealing with colorectal cancer, and his outcome is very unpleasant at the moment. And, you know, in the end, his tumors are inoperable, and he is dealing with it the best he can. But we do have some tools within our household that do help him cope with things a little bit better. And so what I really want to say is I don't want to dwell on the illness or the sadness so much as how do we do self-care? How do we come to a point of having the ability to move through the very next day sometimes as survivors of this, and for people who are being touched with this, I'll say, critical wound to our souls. And I think that the world is dealing with a lot of trauma on so many levels, and there are so many illnesses out there. So none of us is exempt from these things happening to us for one reason or another. It doesn't make it any easier. That I can tell you from my own experience. However, again, I go back to myself and my center, and really, what does my heart want in this situation? What does my heart want? What will my heart do? What can I do? Can I just be with this person during their time? Can I remember the person that's moved on? Can I serve my community by being of assistance? And probably one of the most absolute things that we can do in a good way is to support one another if someone is going through this, even if they don't ask for anything, to reach our hand out and be in that community. And, you know, we are all connected. We say in my tradition, Matakiasin, which means all my relatives. And that means every one of you that is listening here, whether it's the people that run this organization or the people that are benefiting from this organization, there is care here for you. Trust me, there is care for you in a community of people who really want the best for you. And I know that. And I hope that maybe by the end of this conversation that you might feel that as well. So, grief is really a scary topic, and loss is a scary topic, and we will all go through this. So can we help each other? That's probably the first question. Excuse me. I wanted to tell you just a little bit about myself and my journey into healing. I almost lost my life in 1974 myself. I walked into an armed robbery and was shot and left for dead. And after that happened, I had one of those life moments, and Spirit, God, angels, Mary, whomever, touched my heart and said, okay, we're going to give you another chance. What are you going to do with this other chance? And so basically, I have served many communities on a helping level since then, and I will continue to do that until I'm not here anymore. So that's really part of my story. And the other part is, how can I learn to help more? So I worked with a doctor out of Loyola for 9 years. And I had a store that dealt with teaching cross-cultural things. And I'm a cross-cultural teacher. And Dr. Liu, Chinese doctor, very interested in alternative things. And so the things that he would do were, aside from his medical things, he would give his patients supplements and ideas and acupuncture and so on. Very, very helpful for chronic anything, grief or illness. And so something to look into perhaps for some of you. And they do have clinics around the city, I do know that, that are low fees. Also, in the instance of knowing this man for 9 years, I learned a lot. And we went to China, and Mongolia, and we did sort of a Doctors Without Borders. And again, while I was there, I went to the Bagua Institute to learn Qigong healing, which is an Asian form of healing. And the person that I learned from was a physician, but he also was a first responder for calamities in China. And so I learned a lot of tools from them, and very helpful, and I still use them in my personal life and with other people and people that I may work on, and very helpful. So that was one part. And then going into Mongolia, I worked with a lama, a very, very high lama from Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. And God only knows, I never knew I'd be across the ocean a million miles away from home doing this work. But the opportunity to be in a learning capacity, a spiritual capacity, and a helping capacity just was too much for me not to go. And so I spent many, 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 many hours and days and weeks in the temple with the monks who were all medicine people. They gathered herbs, and I watched them pray over herbs, and I watched the Lama heal his patients, often only by feeling their pulse, which is just amazing. And then they would prescribe some herbs for this person. And generally speaking, and here's the miracle of this, generally speaking, it was 30 days till most things were healed. And I just found that beyond my, comprehension, but it did happen. So again, another experience. And when the doctor that I worked with came back here to the US to give a talk on medicine, on traditional Mongolian medicine at Loyola, we had a big meeting together, and he said, what he is doing is really the oldest medicine in the world, and it's Tibetan medicine. And Tibetan medicine is really what they call Ban Chad, and it is a form of shamanism. Now, I have studied shamanism for 30 years, and shamanism is its own art form in healing. And it has a lot to do with, now this is going to sound crazy for the medical people that may be listening, but it is a walk between worlds. And it's done usually by sonic driving or drumming. And so this is a way to get into a different place in consciousness. Now, this is my belief system. I don't know about anyone else's, but it is not the place where dreaming comes from, and it is not the place of conscious the way we understand conscious. It's a different kind of consciousness. And so sonic driving, and each one of you, no matter where you have come from, no matter where you've been born in the world or who you're related to, from this ocean to that ocean, is that your people had drums. And so if you think of Celtic, if you think of African, if you think of Japanese, Chinese music, any of these people, they all have drums. And we have all had drums. The Vikings had drums. Everyone had drums. And they used the drums in ceremony for healing. So 30 years of learning drumming, the shamanic work with drumming, and then also the other tools of healing in the sound idea of sonic driving. We have the bell. And I just want to try something for you, and I hope you can all hear this. And according to shamanic work or East work, which it would be Japan, China, etc., the Asian communities, the bell is the call to awareness, the call to spirit, but it also has a vibration. And the world's talking about vibrational healing now. Well, we all know that, and I've known this for many, many years, that vibrational healing can do a difference. I have a shaman teacher who's from Greenland, and he says that sometimes the drumming can bounce out the illness. Now, I don't know how true or not true that is, or if I have the right prayers for that, but I certainly try to use that. And so we have, now we have Qigong on the table, we have drumming on the table, we have a bell on the table, and we have also, we have this. We have a rattle on the table now. And the rattle is the first tool that babies recognize. And so if you don't have a drum and you don't have a rattle, first thing you can do is the next time you finish your oatmeal container, keep that container and use it as a drum. Very easy. And some of us probably are laughing at this because we have all done this, I think, in our lives. And secondly, you can make a rattle very easily for yourself or children. And these things are for your own healing and your own work to take your mind away from any suffering you might have, because I also understand suffering. And so I'll say, well, you could get a little toilet paper or a paper towel roll, and you put some split peas or little stones in there and tape up the ends, and you have a rattle. And even if you think this is silly, try it. Just try it. It might make you feel better. The objective of shamanic work in general is sonic driving for 10 to 15 minutes, and it will change your perspective. And that's probably one of the most important things that you can do at this time if you're having grief, loss, suffering, or going through the transition with someone else, is that the potential for healing. You can do these things for these people as well as yourself, because it will help everybody that's involved. The last thing, that tool of sonic driving, are called click sticks. And so if you've ever seen little kids outside and they take two sticks and they just go boop, boop, boop on each side of the sticks are the same thing. And in the shamanic way, if we use the click sticks, we can change the energy. We can zip up by making a zipper movement with the two sticks up someone's body to seal in the great prayer that you might give to these people. So those are the four types of sound things you can use. But then I'll come to this one. There is a new study out about the vibration of music. Now, I don't know anyone who does not love music or just want to hear music. For my husband at this time, during this transitional period that he's in, I play 528 hertz. And this is like not Hertz Rent-A-Car, but certainly it sounds like that. And you can pull it up on YouTube and listen to 528 music. And there are other numbers that will help you relax, meditate, and other things. But it's 528 hertz, and the one I can come off the top of my head with is 528 hertz Miracle. And perhaps the organizers of this might be able to add this to the list of ideas for you. And I also play him classical relaxation music. The last thing anyone who's really trying to do healing work for themselves needs is hard rock and roll, as much as I might like some of that. It's disturbing to someone's vibrational pattern in their body when perhaps they need the energy more to focus on the inner. And for those who are in grief and loss, they need to be calm inside more now than probably any other time in their life. The need to be in your silence with prayer and community and all the things that will help you move through this moment of your life. And again, I am making no light of any of this. Trust me, I sometimes would like to just break down and cry a million tears. But what I will say from my training with traditional people, especially Native Americans, is that we are warriors and we must stand tall. So I'm going to tell you a small story about standing tall. When the warriors would go out in the field in the Native American, they go out to the plains, they had something called the Red Arrow Society. And the Red Arrow Society was, they would choose one warrior to stand ground in the middle of the chaos of the war or the battle. And this is what all of us are doing right now. We set that arrow into the ground and we stand there, and we are protected by everybody else who's doing the work of fighting. And we are there standing tall, and we are not budging. We are there through thick or thin. We are there to move on. We are there to heal. We are there for the benefit of the greater good of all of us. And that has been one of my own personal leaning posts, that I know that I'm a warrior. And I would suggest to each of you, again, no matter what is happening, that you are a warrior. And the warrior in modern times is usually called the leader. And so I'm sure that if you have family, each one of you is a leader of something. You can be a leader of the Tupperware party for anything. You could be the leader of your family. You could be the leader of your church, or someone who's pivotal in any of these things. But you're all leaders, and the world needs what you have to offer. So a suggestion too was, think of the Red Arrow Society and think of that one arrow with the red cloth tied around it that is buried deep in the ground, standing firm. And just think of that and think of yourself in that situation. And so, moving on, I'm going to tell you something that just recently happened within the last 10 days in my life. My daughter and myself and my husband, who is laying down most of the time now and sleeping a lot, we put him in the car and we drove him to Crow Creek Indian Reservation, the Crow people. And they did a ceremony for him, and he had to stay in the car because they have a lot of COVID, and he is very fragile right now. But my daughter and I went in, and in troops this lovely, lovely Native healing family. And it was little kids from about 6 up to about 40. And then the 2 medicine people. And so here we were in this room with persons that I'd never met. I had a connection to go here. So I was greeted as if I were family. Again, Matakiasin. They knew I came for help for my family. And so, again, this is what they told me. They said, we're horse people. We're horse people. And your husband needs to be around horses. And they gave us sage, which is one of the medicines of the Native people, to use in ceremony for my husband for either his healing or his transition. And of course, when someone's critically ill like that, we never know which way that's going to go. And so basically the prayers were for, I'll say, grace and ease. I guess that's what you'd say. And have to trust that the powers that be will take care of it in the way that they see fit. We have no control over these things. And as you all know, some of us have had people that have been lost overnight or a week or a year or several years. And again, what's going to heal our heart? Well, I have also found out that community doesn't necessarily mean our own family. It can mean other people, like what you're involved with this community event that you're having today. And so even if you don't feel like reaching out for some help, do it anyway. Do it anyway. And if you know anybody who needs that kind of support, reach out, bring them something to eat, take them out, pray with them, whatever it takes to be of service to someone else is my suggestion. And so I'm grateful for the ceremony that the Crow people did. And then to make matters even more unbelievably successful is that my husband can't travel now. This trip was very hard on him. And I have a friend whom I do work with at a suicide prevention in Barrington, and he has lots of connections. So Sunday this week, he's bringing two mini horses to my house to be near my husband. And the horse handler said, now you're going to love this one, that, well, if you can't get up, we can bring the horses in your house. So I hope you laugh because I had to. And you know what I was thinking probably, what happens if, but we're doing it anyway. We're doing it anyway, no matter what. And so we're going to make a party out of it. So what kind of party might you make out of something that is really a challenge for you right now? So that's a happy story, and I love happy stories. So I guess when we are looking at community support, and again, I don't know any of you, but I'm sure that some of you go to church and do ceremonies at church and rituals at church and take communion or dance or raise hands in celebration to spirit or whatever it is that you may do. Get closer to that because it will help you. And you will have the support of that community as well. And so those are just a few things that you can do. And I'm a really stringent believer in ritual and ceremony. I do ceremonies for many things, full moons, half year ideas on the 4 seasons. And we also, at the Barrington Hope House, we do something called a wiping of the tears ceremony. And if any of you are interested in that, we can get you that information as well. And the wiping of the tears ceremony is an acknowledgement of the person that has walked on, but also the people that are left over. And it's a very special ceremony, and it's a very beautiful ceremony should you be interested. I'm usually an assistant in this ceremony for my friend, and it's only had positive outcomes. In the Native community, we have many different ways that we celebrate the passing of one or and the recovery, if you will. And when my Indian adopted father from Menominee passed, the Menominee people and the Ojibwe people, they do a 4-day ceremony. And during that 4 days, the women are in the kitchen making this weird kind of bologna sandwich with the pickles in it. And everyone gets to eat. And the women that come all bring food. And then there is one person that sits by the person who's being shown. And there are men drummers outside. This is for 4 days and 4 nights. And then there's a burial. And what I have learned just so deeply from this is that it gives people a chance to really have their ending in a possible way, in a really positive way. And there's the kind of a completion so that pain isn't so harsh. And so these are things I just am telling you because these are my experiences. They don't have to be yours, but they're different ideas. And the indigenous people, if you go back in your own history from wherever you're from, I am certain you will find that there is some link to your past that also created ceremony and ritual around your grief and loss. And so perhaps looking into that might be a positive thing for some of you to look into. And then, of course, my favorite thing to tell you, and a lot of these are about self-care, by the way. We need to be able to sleep. And often that's the first thing that goes out the window because we're fretting when people are ill. We're fretting because we don't know what we're going to do next. We are not ourselves. So we must get that sleep. We must get that sleep. And the best way to get sleep is how our ancestors did it. We get up with the sun and we go to bed soon after dusk, and in this culture, I'd say like 8 or 9 o'clock. And the other thing that if you are having trouble sleeping is to find an amber light bulb, just a little one, amber night light. We need to get the blue light out of our bedroom experience. So no cell phones in the bedroom, no TV in the bedroom. Really make time for that sleep so that you are rested, so that during this time of challenge, you would be able to deal with things much better if you are rested and not necessarily needing any medication to do so. So that's something else you can do. And then certainly, I'm big in cooking. I cook. I'm called the soup fairy to my neighbors. And if anybody has a sniffle, I go, bring you some soup over. And so you have to eat. You have to eat. I know a lot of times people don't want to eat. People that are sick don't like to eat. And people that are left with grief and loss don't like to eat either. And so we need to eat, and we need to eat healthy. And so if you have a good friend who likes to cook like me, don't be afraid to ask for someone to bring you a meal. Especially when they go, what can I do for you? And you can say, we could use a meal at my house. We could use a hot meal. And so don't be afraid to ask for that. This is life happening. And if we are afraid to ask each other for help, what is the purpose for our being? Our purpose is to be here for each other. And I truly believe that with all my heart. So I'm going to move on to something probably some of you know a little bit about. I know quite a bit about this. I am a 2-time essential oil trained person through 2 different systems, and medicinal aromatherapy has helped my husband greatly, and also the oils have helped. The essential oils have helped with my own grieving. So I'm going to quickly just tap this really quick and let you know that if you need more information, they can give you more information on this, but essential oils are something to look into. So I thank you so much for your time and your presence, and I wish all of you well. And we say Miigwech, which means thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. We appreciate all the wisdom that you've shared with us today. Greatly appreciate you having some time getting on with us as well. I know we had a little hiccup in the beginning, but we very much appreciate your time and sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you, and keep up the good work, you folks. I love it.
Thank you very much. And Rhonda, really quick, is it okay if anyone was to request for your information? Is it okay if we help them get connected to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Be happy to talk to anybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You take care now.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Sam, are you on the line? You want to go ahead and transition us to our raffle winner announcement?
Sure, definitely. Yes, I'm still here. I just was making sure all the information.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm super excited to be able to present the raffle winner. So I know we want to present it a little bit closer to 1:15. I'm going to also request that time just to make sure I do get the correct name of the person. And I also promise to give everyone a really fun drum roll right before I announce the winner. So yeah, just give me about a couple seconds to just confirm the winner. And then yes, I will share that with you all. I personally always get excited whenever I get to do really like quirky things. So I have the winner, and as promised, I also have the drum roll. So drum roll, please. Maria Rodriguez, that is the raffle winner. So yes, it is Maria Rodriguez. I know you're on the line. Congratulations. Thank you so much for joining us today as well. And congratulations on winning the raffle. I don't know. Do you want to, are we, all right, for sure. Yeah, everyone can go ahead and congratulate Maria inside the chat as well if you feel called to do so. And yes, without any further ado, and now I want to introduce our guest speaker who will be giving our closing remarks. And the closing remarks will just be about the state of COVID in Chicago and just the implications for cancer prevention and care. So yes, our guest speaker is Ngozi Ezike, who is a director of the Department of Public Health. And yes, we are pleased to have you here. So yes, thank you so much, Dr. Ezike. I'm going to pass you the mic and let you kind of bring us home.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me be a part of this very special collaborative. I appreciate the invitation and the chance to offer just a few remarks. I agree with so much that was shared, especially with the last speaker. When we talk about mental health, medical health, health in general, those are tied. And we do know that sleep is an important part of that. You know, we always talk about, eating well and exercise and physical movement, but I think sleep is sometimes underappreciated. So thank you for those insightful words. This has truly been a great opportunity for healing, and it makes me very hopeful. So one of the most powerful actions that I have witnessed while in the midst of this entire pandemic is the strength of community. And so as we conclude the first day of the 6th annual community forum, this is a lesson learned by the Cancer Health Equity Collaborative and the Cancer Support and Survivorship community long before COVID-19 was ever a thing. The influence of community has been felt along every step of this coronavirus journey, from global communities of researchers working together, partnering to develop and produce effective vaccines and treatments, to the local and the regional communities who have arranged and hosted testing and vaccination drives, provided resources for families that are struggling to make ends meet during the pandemic, and bolstering the morale of the frontline workers who have been daunted by the better part of a 2-year battle. In many instances, these communities were composed of people who had experienced similar situations themselves. Like Arthur Ray said during this morning's first presentation, and I'm paraphrasing here, sometimes our journeys and testimonies are actually for the benefit of others. And even beyond vaccines, monoclonal antibody treatments, testing, masking, contact tracing, if we are to survive this onslaught to our public and individual health and leave a blueprint for future generations, because unfortunately, we will see, the world will see other pandemics. And it's because of the strength of the lessons that we convey, that we show, that communities pitched in together, that will form the blueprint for how people will be able to better tackle the next challenges, that generations after us will still encounter. The cancer support and survivorship community has absolutely excelled at teaching us to love ourselves as a part of healing, and to recognize that the sharing of experiences is a vital part of the overall healing process. And also, as we've heard, not to be afraid to ask for help, not to be afraid to take people up on their offers to help, to cook that meal that somebody may offer, to say yes. Now its latest and most impactful responsibility is providing the model of success for the COVID support and survivorship community. Every single person living, breathing has been impacted, by cancer or COVID. And some have found themselves attacked by both diseases. And regardless of where you might find yourself on the spectrum of this experience, whether as a patient yourself, whether as the family member of someone else, as the actual caregiver, a healthcare worker, some other kind of frontline worker, a researcher, a clinical trial volunteer, whether you're one of our ambassadors, whether you're a vaccine ambassador or a contact tracer, we are all called to share the lessons learned in our journey with other members of our village, whether that village be geographical or situational. And just as we follow in the footsteps of those who have walked this road before us, there are so many coming behind us who will use our footsteps as their navigational tool. And as Rona said, we are the warriors standing tall. For your benefit and theirs, I urge you, I encourage you to continue to draw strength from the community. That is our well, but also contribute freely to its continuous growth. I know that today has been beneficial for you, and I look forward to your returning upon tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ezike, for those awesome, amazing words that you had shared with us today. We're very grateful to have you and have you share these remarks with us. I don't know, Sam, did you want to go ahead and close us out for today?
Definitely. Yes, thank you again, Dr. Ezike, for sharing those closing remarks. And I want to just also give a special thank you to everyone for coming out today and participating with us. This is only day one, so we actually have another full day of events planned. So definitely please come back and join us if your schedule does allow you to do so. But if not, we also just want to make sure that you all do follow up with the resources that were shared here. And if there's anything that you all need, definitely don't be afraid to reach out. And yeah, that's everything that I have. So thank you again. Enjoy the rest of your day, and let us know if you have any questions about tomorrow as well. And then if we can, as people are kind of like popping out, can we just kind of have the flyer for tomorrow as well? And it looks like Dr. Simon also wants to share some things.
No, I just want to say thank you all for joining us, and we look forward to tomorrow, and thank you to all our speakers today.